Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. The National Weather Service earlier today released a report on the Enderlin tornado, upgrading its strength and the estimate of wind speed. So why so long? Why did it take so long? And what were the estimates? Here's the latest on this version of Hutch's weather. First and foremost, shortly after the event unfolded, this video was sent in by Brandon. Brandon, thank you for uploading your ring video, the door ring video. And you can see this mushroom-shaped cloud here. That is the tornadic supercell storm outside of Enderlin on that fateful night when 3 souls were taken from us, unfortunately. This storm was incredible. It takes a long time to do research on storms like this because we cannot measure the wind speed inside these storms unless we're directly there. But even a lot of our instruments get destroyed by the winds that some of these storms can create. This storm system here in the Enderlin area worked its way through. It was huge and it was devastating. And in some ways, we were fortunate that it did not make a direct impact on a larger populated area. But for those in the path, it was mighty. And not only were there people in the path of this storm, but trees. Also, we had the trains that were completely derailed. So here's what went on. The National Weather Service did survey the sites, the scenes after the fact. And then through using physics and a lot of research, they estimate what speed the wind must have been doing to do the damage that we saw. Here is a update for you from the National Weather Service Forecast Office. Now, here's what we know. Number one, they increased the peak winds to greater than 210 miles per hour. That is a ferocious storm. That is an EF5, and it's a strong EF5 on the EF5 scale. So the peak winds being 210 miles per hour or greater. When there is complete destruction by the wind, there becomes difficulties in really estimating how much the wind must have been. But there were a few things that did point to the fact that the National Weather Service had some pretty good estimates here. Now, the path length, 12.1 miles long of the EF5 tornado. Its width was over 1 mile wide. There were the 3 fatalities. No other injuries reported from this particular storm. Key factors in increasing this to an EF5 included the train derailment calculations that took some time to work through, folks. We're talking cars completely filled with grain, many of them just moved off of the track, some of them thrown up well over a football field in length. So calculating how much wind must have been going on to report and record that and to do that type of damage is what took so long. And to be sure, this would be one of the strongest tornadoes in many, many years in the United States. That's right, the entire nation has not seen an EF5 tornado since the Moore, Oklahoma tornado several years ago, and North Dakota has not seen an EF5 tornado since the 1950s Fargo F5 tornado. One other thing that took place was the notation and evidence that trees were completely debarked, and there was the apparent sanding of the trees by the wind and debris of the storm, stripping the bark clean off of these trees. Here is a photo shared by the National Weather Service of their report of the debarking of the trees, just standing there, and just a smooth, sanded finish after the storm went through. So again, just a terrible storm out there. And now a little bit of analysis for you. I did save some data on my weather station here to show you as the Enderlin tornado approached. It moved out of the area out near Fort Ransom where it was first seen and moved from just south of Enderlin. This is where the EF5 took hold and started its trek north and east and then wrapping up out here. What you're looking at on the backside of this was the derecho that followed the storm afterwards. And it is my opinion and my opinion only. It can't be registered to be fact, but we had 2 tornadic supercell thunderstorms that produced long-lived tornadic events all the way from, well, this one near Fort Ransom where it started and producing the EF5 now with over 210 mile per hour winds. But we also had the storm that began near Spiritwood as well. Here's a look at the progression of the storm. But first, this is the velocity display near Enderlin. And the National Weather Service said that it was these velocity couplets taken from the Mayville radar, many miles away from Enderlin. So that means the velocities seen right here corresponded with over 210 mile per hour winds, and these would be measured aloft above the ground, not necessarily what was hitting the ground. In isolated spots, we could theoretically argue that the wind would be stronger at the ground, even though there's friction there. The circulation focuses on a more narrow circulation than what we typically see aloft or above the ground. So this was a snapshot of the EF5 as it was working its way from 5 miles south of Enderlin, and working its way to the north of town, not far south of Alice is where it dissipated. And now we can take another look here at the progression of the storm. And here you see, oh, there's the hook echo right there. You see the hook near Fort Ransom, boom, here, and then it moves north, here, gone, blown apart by the derecho. So it is my opinion, and I had a video on that during the June timeframe after these storms moved through, why I think that derecho may have saved some of us in the Red River Valley from seeing the effects of not this storm here and this storm here. Two supercell tornadic producing storms obliterated by the 100+ mile per hour straight line windstorm that followed the two tornadic supercells. Here's the tornadic supercells, one moving through the Barnes County area. Here's the one pushing into southern Cass County, and then being blown away by that derecho following it. Widespread damage, a terrible night that will continue to be studied by meteorologists and researchers alike for years to come. Our thoughts remain with those who were impacted by these storms, and that was many of us. But that's the latest. Once again, the breaking news, the Enderlin Tornado has been upgraded to an EF5 storm, and that EF5 storm with estimated winds peaking at over 210 miles per hour as it made its way through. As I take the text off of this, you'll be able to see once again Brandon Utke's video from the Ring doorbell camera. Some folks saying this looked fake or like it was AI. This was no AI video. And you can see the updraft section of the storm, this huge bowl-shaped supercell storm that was producing the tornado was just to the east of Enderlin as it made its way through, being captured on the Ring camera right there. Thanks to all of you for your input. Thanks to the National Weather Service Forecast Office and all of the experts out there that have worked really tirelessly this summer in not only researching but estimating winds, and also, well, they're the ones that issue the warnings that keep us safe. Thank you so very, very much. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I appreciate you watching Hutch's Weather.
This has been a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching Hutch's Weather. Anywhere, anytime at hutchesweather.com.